Yes, here is my yar from Lenormand course, a good afternoon, or a good morning or a good evening or a good night, that is also possible of course. I'm going to talk to you about the Lenormand cards again, and this in case Lenormand card number 7. The snake. Ooh, the snake, help. You can, but this is not necessary, it can be good. You can also give this insight. I'm going to take a look myself. Yes, I think it's so beautifully drawn. I have this deck. Also easy to obtain anywhere. It's a bit difficult at first. I also set up something downstairs as a cheat sheet for myself. Because of course I am also learning more and more. I'm not doing reading super long. I learn new things every month, like, oh yes, it can stand for that, the snake. Card 7. I'm going to explain what you see there. The card of the snake shows a snake that has wound itself around a tree. Leaves are already sprouting from the branches of the tree. Actually, all the leaves have sprouted. In the distance is a forest, and the tree is by a lake. If you look closely, I see the medallion is a queen, you see. Do you see? It is a clover queen, there is a black clover, so it is also a black card. She already has her crown on her head, you might see that, and she's playing on her lyre. That is almost impossible to see, but you can just see it in the image. It's a black card, it's a clover card. This card is moderately negative. A brief description. The snake, I'll help. The snake very often gives a warning, that is true. That who often does this. A warning of something is not quite right. Watch out because something isn't quite right. There is a adder in the grass. That can really happen more often when you draw the card. Be aware of that. There can also be cheating or unreliability. Because it is not completely kosher, it is not completely kosher. There's our adder in the grass, manipulation. It could also be that you are being manipulated in one way or another. That you don't realize that you have a blind spot, you can. He can also stand for fraud. That people cheat you in some way. Those are all things that can happen. Or that there are people who take advantage of the situation. He stands for that too. Crime, addictions, crime. I usually draw a different card for addictions, but it can certainly stand for it. What he can also stand for is that you are in trouble with yourself, so to speak. That is another extreme, but that again depends on the question. He can also stand, which in itself is not real, that is not negative, for seduction or sexual interest. He can also stand for that, that is the other way, say. He stands for moderately negative. I will repeat what I have said before with the cards. Make a distinction between the cards between very positive, moderately positive, and moderately negative. This one is moderately negative. This card falls into the moderately negative category. It again depends on the cards surrounding it. If there are really only negative cards around it, then it is also in the negative category, then it falls. If there are really super positive cards around it, then it is still fine. Keep in mind, it is a warning card, it often is. The snake in your daily life. The snake in your daily life. Watch out for people who talk nicely, who talk smoothly, and that you already have the feeling. In your gut of, that is a very nice story. I don't think it's right. Well then yes, and you draw that card. Well, then you can at least think about it. Let me put it this way. Someone who can talk very nicely. So smoothly. Handle it very carefully, or don't handle it at all. Just what you want. Whatever he can stand for, and I have often drawn him to that. That it represents that you have a metamorphosis. So that you really have a super change in your life, that you are doing that. That you have drawn this card, you can be in the process of a metamorphosis. You also notice that in yourself. If you draw that card, you will also notice, yes, confirmation, I'm on the right track. I'm shedding, just like a snake. That is a metamorphosis, that you get a different skin. A thicker and bigger skin, and then yes. He can really stand for that, and certainly also for spirituality. That you have a metamorphosis and that you really have a breakthrough. You can also make a breakthrough in spirituality. That is beautiful. Tip. Keep in mind that there could be something, there is our adder in the grass I said. This can creep in unexpectedly and secretly, that you don't notice it at all. That you have a blind spot. Be warned work. How else can you do it? How else can you do it? Or maybe you are already on the right track. Keep an eye on what is the card about, and what is surrounding it. Personality traits. The card that can represent jealousy, people who are jealous, envious, jealousy. There he comes quite well. Now I have to say, I usually drawn the bear for people who are jealous. Usually the snake is also used for jealousy. He can stand for a cunning and unreliable person. These people can adapt well as this comes in their own way. A nice talker, someone who can think along with you, and can adapt easily. But who in the meantime is busy for his own convenience. Which you can learn from, of course. Sometimes aggression also comes into play. The same as with the clouds, that is also possible with this card. The card can also represent someone who is very sexually active and good at seducing. That is the other side of the card, that is also possible. Or that is also possible, I have had that myself. That you live in a kind of fantasy world. Especially as a child I had that, and I still do. I can also act well. I can act really well. This card can also represent the magic in the world. In the spiritual world. Fantasy world, well, that kind of thing. He can okay person card. He can represent an enterprising woman with a jealous character. He can also stand, aside from a jealous character, in front of a red-haired woman or a blonde woman. It can also represent a woman with a zodiac sign, Aries, Leo or Sagittarius. I put that here as a cheat sheet. Aries, Leo or Sagittarius. Work. What kind of work suits you when you draw this card? Painter, house painter I mean by that. Magic, say Hans Clock. Actor, cabaret, singing is also possible. Showbiz or ballet. Dancing or working in makeup. In conjunction with other cards. When you see the cards together, and you combine the cards. Also that you have said in advance that you will also combine the cards. Because otherwise you see them separately, and that is different. If you draw this card, the snake with the rider, it means that you snake and rider. I don't have the rider here, snake and rider, that means that you hear lies or that lies are being told. If you draw this one with the clouds, I happen to have it, an unreliable civil servant. This can refer to a civil servant, but also to a supervisor, or to a doctor, either way. Do you draw this with the heart? The infatuation is an illusion. It can be an illusion. With the ring, dishonesty in the relationship, you can. Or do you draw the man? Honest man or focused on his appearance and or matter. Or he can stand for, he is just honest, but he is very focused on his appearance. And money. Then you can too. That was just, in a nutshell, very briefly, because yes, there is so much to tell, but yes, I can't possibly take an hour to do a video. In any case, this was just a nutshell. The card of the snake, I know. I hope it was very helpful to you. Next time I will continue with. I already have it. I had already worked it out. That is the coffin. Oh, help, 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 let me show you. This is the deck of the Mademoiselle Lenormand that you can easily start. This is the card I have myself. A little bit of Egypt. Look, that's it. I will start with that next time. I hope to see you again and see you next time. Greetings to you.